What's up guys, I'm Tanner, and as you can see my bags are packed and ready to go on vacation, but not quite yet because I have pets that are not invited on this trip. I have a dog, a snake, and a tarantula. Even though my good friend Rachel knows what she's doing, she's come here, she's watched my pets a few times before, I still want to do what I can to make her life easier. I feel like one of the best perks to owning a reptile or an arachnid is the fact that you can go on vacation for a few days and they'll most likely be okay, but there still are basic husbandry things that you want to do just to make sure that they're good to go, and at least for me it lowers my anxiety and just makes me feel better about leaving. So I'm going to show you what I do. I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. I'm lying to you guys. I actually lost all of my footage for this video right before I went on this trip. I actually just got back yesterday and I'm re-recording this, so okay, let's go. I'm sorry. You guys should actually be happy that I lost my footage because I came back from my trip and you guys, my tarantula molted. Since my tarantula did just molt a couple days ago over my trip, I'm not even going to touch this enclosure right now, so I'll just talk to you about what I did. If you guys were here from the beginning, I used to use this thing to spray my snake's enclosure. I'll show you guys what I use now when we go over to my snake, but we've come full circle because now I can use this on my tarantula's enclosure. Since I knew that it was going into a molt soon, what I did was give it extra humidity, so I sprayed one side of their enclosure just to make sure that I was moist and make its life easier. And by the way, I'm saying it because I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I hate using the word it because it's my baby. His name is Coraline. I don't care if it's a boy or a girl. Its name is Coraline, but it for now because I can't assume. I also took out the water bowl, dumped it, and refilled it with fresh water, just that way that my pet sitter didn't have to come in and play with the enclosure if they didn't want to or weren't comfortable. If anybody else has tarantulas, please comment down below because my tarantula goes through water. Like every couple days, that thing is empty. My snake does not really drink that much water. My tarantula loves that shit. That was honestly everything I did for my tarantula's enclosure. Again, given that it was gonna molt soon, I kind of just was leaving it alone, made sure that it had what it needed environmentally, and that was it. So now it's time to go over to my snake. In case you're new here, this is my enclosure for my boa constrictor named Cheshire. It was his feeding day the day before I left, so I went ahead and fed him. I do have the footage for that, so I'm gonna reenact what I call another week, another feed. I normally leave this for my Instagram, but I wanted to change it up. So without further ado, I need you to grab your popcorn and get ready because this is another week, another feed, YouTube edition. Another week, another feed, let's get it. It's a little different when it's not a voiceover and there's not music in the background. One of my favorite parts of my weekly feeding videos is choosing which mug I'm gonna thaw my rat in, and since I'm wearing this shirt from Chaotic Threads, I figured this matched the vibe. It's giving spooky season, Halloween, and I love it, so cheers. You guys, I think he heard me say another week, another feed, and he popped his head out immediately. That is so funny. He looked like he wanted to come out, so I figured I'd let him say hello real quick. This is him. Wow. Since he's always under his water bowl, when I went to feed him, I had to lift up the water bowl. So during that time, as he was eating, I went ahead and dumped out the water and refilled it. That way it's fresh. Since I just cleaned out his entire enclosure, I just went ahead and did a spot clean around, just make sure everything was good to go. I didn't go where he was since I knew I was about to feed him and I didn't want to bother him or annoy him right before I fed him. So I just went around and looked. Everything was good to go. So now we can go ahead and feed him, in theory. So this right here is what we call good freaking eats. And now it's fact time. Have you wondered how snakes digest an entire animal? Once the prey reaches the stomach, the snake secretes gastric acid with a pH level as low as 1.5. This fluid is strong enough to dissolve bone, teeth, and skin within a matter of days. What's even cooler to me though is that to handle such a massive calorie load, a snake's heart, liver, and intestines can rapidly swell by 40 to 100% in mass right after a meal. Isn't that crazy? So now you can imagine, based on the size of the animal as well as the temperatures around its environment, it takes anywhere from a couple of days to even a few weeks to fully digest a meal. Talk about big activities right there. After I fed him, I waited until he was finished and went back into hiding under his water bowl, and then I brought out my humidifier because I wanted to make sure that the humidity was up before I left. If you don't have a pet sitter actively coming to check on the humidity for those couple days that you're gone, I definitely recommend amping up the humidity just a little bit. That way it'll be okay for a few days. If you're gonna be gone for longer than 3 or 4 days, you should have somebody check on it. And in my situation, like I said, I was gone for 5 days, and on the 4th day it did drop to like 60%, so she did go ahead and spray it a little bit more. So just letting you guys know to be aware, and it's always best to have somebody at least come look at it and let you know what it is and go from there. So this thing, let me tell you about it. I thank Ray's Reptiles for sending me a link to this and telling me to get it ASAP instead of using the one that I now use for my tarantula's enclosure, because that thing, I was getting a hand workout every single day. This thing is nice. So you just gotta do this a few times, build up the pressure, you know what I mean? And then watch. It locks. No hands. It's like gardening. It's literally like gardening. Even a snake could do it because you don't need hands. See? I'm just spraying this, making sure that the entire tank is saturated and good to go humidity-wise for when I leave. This thing is honestly a lifesaver. I have my Amazon storefront link down below, which does have this, so go get one if you own a reptile. I'm not kidding. The only thing that I will say is when you are done using this, make sure you release the pressure, because I have water damage on my enclosure because I didn't and it leaked. I don't know if that was a known thing that everybody knows except for me, but I didn't do that. So I'm telling you, if you get one, make sure you release the pressure when you're done. Honestly, that's pretty much it. Like I said, that's one of the pros of owning a reptile or an arachnid, because it is pretty low maintenance, especially if you're going on vacation. If you care about your animal, you don't want to just go on a trip and not do anything, at least for me. So I wanted to make sure that my animals are well off in case anything happened with my pet sitter. If she suddenly got scared to go in the enclosure, I knew that they would be okay. After I was done preparing my animals for me to leave, I texted my pet sitter pretty much everything what I did and everything that they should be on a watch for, or in case something goes wrong. I told them where my extra bulbs were. I told them everything. I think somebody online made a funny video about reptile keepers making like a 6-page care sheet for their pet sitter. Yeah, that's very accurate. At least that's what I did. I feel like the one thing that doesn't get talked about enough is knowing where your exotic animal hospital is. You need to let your pet sitter know this in case, God forbid, anything happened to your animals. Of course, it's a little bit easier with the dog or cat because you know there's probably a veterinary clinic. Bruh. Right down the road somewhere, which is a little bit easier, but you need to know where an exotic animal hospital is just in case. And that way your anxiety is at rest, their anxiety is probably at rest, and everything should go smoothly. If you have a snake or a spider, odds are your pet sitter won't even have to go in the enclosure. Again, mine did at the last day just because I was gone for 5 days and all they had to do was amp up the humidity a little bit. So, and always make sure, double check, triple check that the doors are closed before they leave. Because could you imagine? I don't think you guys have seen my tarantula on my YouTube yet. This is what it used to be. The fact that you can see it in the recording is insanity. I named her Coraline and it's really giving, that is the other mother. The other mother ate Coraline. That is not my tarantula. In my original recording, I said, thanks so much for watching. I'm going on my vacation now, and I strolled off. But now I'm just gonna go unpack my bags and kind of cry that I'm back to reality. So thanks so much for hanging out and watching this video. Always be kind, curious, goofy, and most of all spooky. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and give it a thumbs down if you hated it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.